welcome to Newsfilter ATV channel. We welcome you to today's analysis of the news of the week. It is of our interest to inform you of the trending news that has stunned the world. The world is awakened by the pronouncement of the United States President, Donald Trump. This news that stunned the world is the invasion of Nigeria. He is saying this because of the threat posed by terrorists in Nigeria, ranging from Boko Haram, ISIS, ISWAP, Fulani Hismen, Fulani bandits, etc., etc. This group have pledged that they want to wipe out every other religion and install Islamic religion in the country. There is no doubt that they are doing it. But however, the government of Nigeria have turned blind eyes to these atrocities because of political gain. That is the result of Muslim ticket in Nigeria. In Nigeria, religion is the most critical factor that divides the country. In this situation, the pronouncement of Donald Trump took everyone unawares, including the president and the military chiefs of Nigeria. There have been politics on how to treat the terrorists. Some are treating them with great sympathy, the military, the government officials, and their sponsors. However, this pronouncement has indeed triggered other reactions. Those who want to save the Igbos from these calamities because of the experience of the previous genocide between 1966 to 1970. So those who are concerned are now voicing their sympathy and seeking and advising on how to save the Igbos. And one of them is Guenther Fehlinger of Austrian, an economist. This came after the pronouncement of the American President Donald Trump on the invasion of Nigeria because of the massacre and genocide going in Nigeria against the Christians from these Islamic fundamentalists. Let us hear the triggering factor, the pronouncement of Donald Trump.
Is taking action in response to the killing of thousands of Christians in Nigeria. President Trump vowing possible sanctions and saying on Truth Social, quote, "Radical Islamists are responsible for the mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of, quote, particular concern," and entrusting Congressman Riley Moore and other lawmakers to immediately look into this report and report back to me. West Virginia Representative Riley Moore joins us now. Congressman, thank you for joining us, and thank you for your continued efforts in bringing attention to this matter. I'm going to say what's going on there, and I know it's tough, but people need to hear it. They're being raped, they're being killed, they're being starved. Why have we not been hearing more about this?
Well, Rachel, the mainstream media has just turned a blind eye to this, but this network specifically has been giving me and others a platform to actually talk about that. So I do really want to thank you so much for doing that and highlighting it, because it has made a difference. We're talking about between 50,000 and 100,000 Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria since 2009. And we did have a designation on them in the first Trump administration as a country of particular concern. The Biden administration took that off because the killing, according to them, was happening because of land disputes, and climate change was the culprit in this, which it's hard to believe that that's even a justification. This is a genocide that's been going on by Islamic terrorist organizations. This designation by President Trump, and I just want to take 2 seconds. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you so very much, because this is going to end up saving lives. Thank you for this designation. And I think this is going to make a huge difference. And we're going to get right to work on this and get to the bottom of what's happening and give President Trump a full menu of options that we can use to try to stop these
So
killings.
what does the designation do exactly?
Well, this designation opens up a menu of 15 types of different options the president can use. One in particular is the suspension and prohibition of security assistance, which we have been doing security assistance with the Nigerian government. And that was a promise that they were going to receive arms and training from the United States to go kill and stop Boko Haram. They have not been doing that. They have not been stopping these Islamic terrorists, and in my view, have been collaborating and coordinating, and at least, at minimum, have just been turning a blind eye to it in Nigeria. So now that's going to stop. But this menu of options also includes the ability of the administration now to use targeted sanctions against entities within Nigeria.
For the purpose of those who are calling Austria, Australia, we have to give you brief from the previous program of Mac Media for you to know where Austria is.
Australia. Austria is one of the European countries located at the center of Europe. It houses many international organizations like United Nations, International Atomic Energy, Austrian International Center, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. All these are located in Austria. It also known as Center of International Treaties because in Austria many treaties were signed. Austria is one of the most secured and safest in the world. Top among them are Switzerland, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Austria, Norway, New Zealand. All these smaller countries are more safer than the big countries many Nigerians aspire to have as a big nation with big insecurity like Nigeria. Austria is one of the cleanest countries in the world based on Environmental Performance Index, EPI. According to EPI, Denmark, Malta, Luxembourg, Finland, Switzerland, Sweden, Austria, Iceland, and Norway are the cleanest cities in the world.
Now let us hear directly from Mr. Guenther Fehlinger what he has to say about Nigeria that triggered comments in the social media and others. Let us hear him first before we make the analysis and tell the world who he is and his intentions and reasons for calling for the disintegration of Nigeria to save the Biafrans, to save other ethnic nationalities.
You all for following me so much, and I want to talk about Nigeria, so-called ex-Nigeria. Please use this term ex-Nigeria, and please, Nigeria is the Yugoslavia of Africa. Please, it is absolutely vital to study the role model of former Yugoslavia, of ex-Yugoslavia. It was also a powerful state in its time. For 40 years it was a prison of nations. It was horror and terror, striking terror in the Austrians and in their neighbors' minds and hearts. And everybody was afraid, internal and external, of Yugoslavia. And by the way, have you heard about it recently? No, it fell apart, it's no more, it's over and out. And there are 7 new states out of this terrible horror prison of nations. The ex-Yugoslavia, the ex-Nigeria, here's the parallel. Also, when there will be more states developing out of ex-Nigeria, like Biafra Republic, similar to Kosovo, it will be wonderful to have it, and you will be living much better. And this I can only recommend you to follow that role model. NATO-led intervention, support measures, independence referendum, Fehlinger economics, Fehlinger doctrine. This is the way, and it is already done in Kosovo. You can do it as well. It works very well. The American support is, of course, essential, and you have it with Ted Cruz and the president yesterday's message. And then, of course, the Declaration of Independence you did already. Now it must be internationally recognized and then, of course, established. Yeah? If you have to fight for, like decorations, that will be necessary. If you have to fight for, like in Kosovo, it was peaceful. It was peaceful, and that was maybe the moment to have the Ibrahim Rogova for Biafra, and then to follow in that direction and to resist against the Nigerian state institutions, and always to use the role model of ex-Yugoslavia and breakup, because it has led to the prosperity of the new countries which are now in NATO and in the EU. Slovenia, Croatia, extremely successful countries. Less successful maybe Bosnia and Kosovo, but rising very fast because they were extremely poor. And now they are really decent countries. I know them very well. I worked and lived in many of them. And this is the role model for ex-Nigeria. It will be much better. Because why? You have a state which you like. You share the responsibilities. It will defend you. And you can live in and invest in prosperity. And there will be no harm done to anybody in Biafra. And that will be much better, of course. Then you want to invest. You have the diaspora investment. You do all the mechanisms which we have done in Eastern Europe so successful in ex-Yugoslavia. We know exactly how to do it. Come and study how it was in Kosovo, Montenegro, Macedonia, and of course in Serbia. That will be the rump state of mini Nigeria. And there will be still, it will be a substantial state. It will be absolutely viable, and so will be Biafra.
Now we have heard what he has said. Then who is this man professionally? Well, these are the words of two great men. They have spoken from their experiences, while the minor, the primitive, the autocratic leaders and others whose interests are limited to themselves, families, and friends, are bent in opposing the good ideas. When Igbos are killed, they are not interested, they are not sympathetic, they blame Igbos for everything that happens in Nigeria. Let us continue. Please do not fail to subscribe to this channel, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. We are free to say our opinion, but through comment, you put down your comment, then we will come back to you. Indeed, many people may not have known Mr. Guenther before this time, until his reactions and video made after Mr. Trump warned Nigeria of possible invasion if they do not stop the killings and massacre of Christians in Nigeria. Yes, Mr. Guenther is a diplomat and a critic to all he perceived are evil in the society. His criticism has no boundaries. That is what everyone has to know. His criticism has no boundaries. It goes beyond the borders of Europe, Africa, Asia, irrespective of where he believes. Things do not work the way he believes is supposed to work. He is from Austria and born in 1968. He was a lieutenant in the Austrian People's Army. He studied economics at University of Economics in Austria. About his career, he was employed at the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Trade in European Union based in Brussels. He worked in Brussels during the chaotic years after the Maastricht Agreement, from where he grew and gained ground ideas of liberal democracy. In 2004, he was sent to Yugoslavia as part of an economic cooperation. He worked there for 5 good years, where he worked and stayed in Pristina, the capital of Kosovo today. He is a diplomat and played a major role in balkanization of Yugoslavia. So this is the background of the man who is calling President Trump to liberate Biafra and make Nigeria ex-Nigeria, quote and unquote. People may ask, why did he make such comment? He made the comment because Austria was a major player during the Nigerian Biafran War on provisions of food and medical equipment to Biafra children. The characters that Britain refused to supply food items and medical equipment was based in Austria. Therefore, they showed their sympathy, and this sympathy has continued. And now that the Muslim ticket have continued to maintain the effort imported terrorists into the country, that this man has spoken out to save the Igbos from further genocide in time to come. The APC Muslim expansion project that began in 2015 to 2023 have been elevated by the present because he said he will continue where his former boss, Buhari, stopped. And since he assumed the presidency, more deaths have been recorded, more Christians have been killed. In the southern part of Nigeria, they employed the services of one Mr. Asari Dokubo, who they claimed is a military consultant and military contractor. He was a Muslim trained in Libya, in Sudan, and also in other places, that is responsible for the death of many Christians in the southeast. He has declared by himself that they kill in Anambra, they kill in Igbo, they kill in Ihala, they kill in Aba, they kill in Enugu, they kill every part of in Ebonyi. They are the people in Port Harcourt. They are killing. So he made it known also that he was giving contract to do so by the former president of Nigeria, the late Muhammad Buhari, and has continued to do so for the present president. These are the key points. And when Mr. Guenther, Fehlinger speaks, he knew what he was speaking. He is out to save the Biafrans, the Igbos. Therefore, it is important to thank this man who has volunteered to make open call to President Trump. As the United Nations Security Council, the United Nations Secretary General have ignored the problems of the Biafrans, the problems of southeastern region of Nigeria. This could be demonstrated on the case now of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who was abducted and renditioned back to Nigeria. The United Nations Human Rights Group or Human Rights Council declared that the abduction and rendition is against the human rights and indicted Nigerian government. No member of the United Nations Council has deemed it possible to sanction Nigeria for the disobedience to the rule of law of international community. Instead, they are trying Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and every member of the Security Council and the members of the international community who are members of the UN are looking and watching to have another Mandela on the making from presidents who are sympathetic to Islamization of Nigeria. You now know what Mr. Guenther Fehlinger stands for. There is no need of questioning who is he, where is he from. Then you have known all this, his mission, his sympathy, and what he stands for. With this, do not fail to put down your comment, subscribe, like, and share to your friends and well-wishers. Thank you until we come to you with another edition.